And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at a game called Ivor the Engine. Now, if you're not from Great Britain, you probably haven't heard of this before. I never did, but apparently this was a popular children's cartoon from when I was born in 1975 and 1976. And it's had some resurgence, and they've used it for various things. But it has like this colorful history behind it, and so this is the commissioned official board game. Now, commissioned official board games are often not that impressive, but this is from Surprise Stare Games, and they've done some good stuff in the past. So I'm excited to look at this one. It does come with quite a bit of wooden sheep inside it, reminiscent of games like Agricola and such. But hey, let's check it out and see if it's any fun. Over the course of this game, players are trying to get the most sheep. They even have these white blocks that count as 5 sheep. That does look like 5 sheep made into a square, right? Players are going to be doing that by doing jobs for people. For example, here you might want to watch Mrs. Fox and her cubs at Mrs. Porty's house. You do that, and you're going to get 3 sheep. So players are going to have their little train cars on the board, and on your turn, the first thing you do is you'll take a sheep from whatever location you're at. If you take the last sheep at a specific location, and there's one of these tiles here, these tiles are used at the beginning of the game to show how many sheep go in each area. You take the tile, and it automatically gives you an extra 2 bonus sheep. Then you can take your turn. On your turn, you can move from one location to another as long as they're connected by a track. Now, it's even easier than that, actually, because if you'll notice here, if there is a black line between two, you can't go that way. But if there's an open area, you can move through there. You can actually move more than one with your train if you pay a coal for each extra movement. And you're also allowed to move on the big long train from Langumben all the way down here to the city in the south corner, and that, or vice versa, and that costs 2 coal to do that. So players are going to do that, and if at any point on their turn they end up at one of these locations, like Mrs. Porty's house, or Tangigwich, or my favorite, Grumbly Town, where you're taking Ivor to choir practice. Anyhow, if you do that, you will get that many sheep bonus. However, you can only turn these cards in for the amount of sheep that are on them if that town has no sheep in it. So Grumbly Town, for example, has 3 sheep. You're going to need to clear them out before you start taking more sheep. You can also do whatever it says on the bottom of the card. Here, you take a gold and take one card from the card line, which at the top here. This one here would let you make 3 extra moves. This one here, take 1 sheep from 3 different locations and put them back in the stock. Put any lost sheep tokens on locations that now have no sheep back in the box. And so these cards are going to do different things. So players are basically moving around. Gold can be used to buy 2 coal, but gold is also used for another reason. At the end of your turn, you'll take a card from the card line, and then that card is replaced. And remember, you want these cards because they give you more missions you can do and optional things. But sometimes the card that's turned over is an event card. The first thing you do is you look at the top of the event card to see what happens. Here, everyone gets a coal from the stock. Or here, any player who has no gold gets a gold. Or here, every player must either move to that city or put 1 sheep from their sheep pen back into the stock. So that's a good thing, but you can also pay a gold on your turn to take one of these event cards, and they give you bonus points. Like, for example, here, this one at the end of the game, every Grumbly gas card that you've delivered, you'll get a 2 sheep for. Here, you just get 1 for every job at the end of the game. Here, you get 2 for every the gold mines that you have at the end of the game. So these give you bonus points. Now, as soon as someone has a certain number of sheep, which will be 25 sheep or 20 sheep, depending on number of players, that's the last round of the game. Everyone finishes up. You then count up however many sheep you have, and each gold turns into a sheep. Basically, gold is worth a point, and whoever has the most points is the winner of the game. I think a good word for this game would be pleasant, although sometimes it can be kind of nasty too. In essence, this is a great family game. You are making pretty obvious moves. At the beginning of your turn, you take a sheep, and then you look at your cards and say, where am I going to go? Because the jobs and the cards are worth quite a few points, sheep, and you want to get to go and do those as quickly as you can, so you want to go clear those out. But how you do it? how much coal you use, what event cards that you'll buy, whether you'll use the card for the special ability or for the job that you're supposed to do. Those are all interesting decisions, and I think a lot of people are really going to enjoy this game. Yeah, probably gamers will think that there's not a lot of deep strategy here, but I was really impressed with just how, I'm going to use the word again, pleasantly the game flowed. The board has this whimsical look to it, and it will take you a bit to try to figure out where all the locations are. I wouldn't have minded maybe if there had been a little map, or at least some place that showed you, or maybe a symbol so it would be easier to find them, because the names just weren't very... I can't even pronounce half the names on them, but just trying to figure out where they are. But I liked it. I liked the artwork. I liked the funny things that you were doing. It feels like a children's cartoon as you're playing it. But it also feels like you're trying to figure out, how do I get sheep from over here? How do I get them from over here? I'll do this over here. I'm going to expend coal for this. But at the same time, without blowing your mind out with great depths of strategy. This is not even probably as strategic as something like Ticket to Ride, but it also has some take that elements where players are doing things to mess each other over, but also concentrating on their own goals. Entertaining, and I think with some great components. All the wooden sheep are fun to grab, and the colorful artwork. I think that the ease of play and how quickly turns go, you're not really bored, because even though you have a lot of different options in your turn, it's not that difficult. You're sitting there going, okay, I'm going to move here. I'm going to play this card, do this. Okay, take a card, my turn's over, and it's the next person's. And I like how that flows. So this, if you've seen the cartoon and you're feeling nostalgic, then hopefully this game does a great job of reproducing. I haven't seen the cartoon, I can't say that, but I'll say this. It's a good job as a game. And for those who haven't seen the cartoon, who cares? If you're looking for something light and fun to play with your family, I think Ivor the Engine is kind of exactly what you're looking for. So check it out. Maybe I'll have to go watch some of this cartoon. Dice Tower Judgment. Approved.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.